That is one angry 1068th Indian lady. As that larger corporate shill now is bragging about how culturally diverse she is, as she did for many years on end. Now the conversation turns to a tragic event that just unfolded in Washington, D.C., where we had an aircraft that hit a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter, leading to the result of 64 people that have lost their lives. A tragedy, as of course the authorities have now only discovered 28 of the 64 bodies, as this incident has a lot of people questioning, wait, hold on, what happened here? Is this really an accident? Is there larger kind of political practices that were involved here? As we could all agree through the larger sentiments here that the corporate media is not acting their best, as they're kind of hounding some of the family members and survivors of this larger tragedy that is really weird and really crazy to see here in this kind of larger moment where family members were accosted at the airport that were still trying to make sense of this all, as CNN didn't wait long to try to blame everything on Donald Trump right after this crash happened. As of course, this is what they had to say on their alleged, quote, news network.
Mary, I have one more question for you. Look, it's January 29th. We are just 9 days out from a presidential transition, an administrative transition. The FAA administrator resigned at the end of the Biden administration, so there is no permanent confirmed FAA administrator right now. This is going to be a time when there's going to be a lot of public communication, right, and a lot of investigation of what happened here. What do you anticipate this transition period is going to mean for what happens today and tomorrow and in the coming days as we find out what happened here?
Yeah, we'll investigate. But, you know, clearly the guy resigned under the Trump administration as the guy that was there beforehand, clearly, according to a lot of people, was a DEI hire who couldn't answer single questions about aviation. Now, should we blame this guy who wasn't even there at a position of power? Well, no, not really. Can we blame DEI? Well, we still got to wait. We still got to wait and kind of investigate to see who and what was responsible here. As, of course, Donald Trump gave out his kind of condolences to a lot of the people that have lost their lives here and their family members. He talked about how this is a larger tragedy. And then he made the point that, quote, I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first, as Donald Trump then later went on and criticized a lot of the woke, really weird policies at the FAA that are extremely peculiar. And for some reason, the corporate media that has no shame decided to blame him and attack him for making these larger insinuations, even though what Donald Trump said here is absolutely correct, as the FAA literally had a recruitment campaign going for people with severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and of course, being the right color, not the right skill set for the job. And these larger kind of interactions are pretty eye-opening, to say the least, here, as Donald Trump continues to be questioned about this with the kind of fake fawn outrage by the corporate media clutching their pearls. How dare you criticize a policy that didn't put people in important positions based on their merit, but because of what they decided to shove inside of themselves or their larger kind of superficial skin color.
Mr. President, on DEI and the claims that you've made, are you saying this crash was somehow caused and the result of diversity hiring? And what evidence have you seen to support these claims?
It just could have been. We have a high standard. We've had a much higher standard than anybody else. And there are things where you have to go by brain power. You have to go by psychological quality. And psychological quality is a very important element of it. These are various very powerful tests that we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden. And Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So we don't know, but we do know that you had two planes at the same level. You had a helicopter and a plane. That shouldn't have happened. And we'll see. We're going to look into that, and we're going to see. But certainly for an air traffic controller, we want the brightest, the smartest, the sharpest. We want somebody that's psychologically superior. And that's what we're going to have.
Yeah. Now, if you're offended by that, you're probably just looking for something to be offended by, as of course what Donald Trump says. Hey, we don't know yet. We'll look into it. We'll investigate. We don't know if that's the exact cause here, but bringing up specifically larger diversity efforts that have stopped larger government efficiencies from actually operating in a logical, logistical way is a legitimate issue. Now, is it solely responsible here? Again, the president of the United States didn't say, yeah, but he is bringing it up when it comes to the larger problems that this nation is facing under the failed leadership of Joe Biden that has prioritized a lot of nonsense, a lot of hooey, a lot of the things that we just simply didn't want. It put a lot of people in a position that was not advantageous for them, including the people that they shoved into positions of power and authority that shouldn't have ever been there. And you just let down not just those people of color, but also everyone else around them that's kind of looking at them being like, did they actually deserve to be there? Should they actually be there? Or are they there because of these kind of patronizing larger kind of programs that's patting them on the head and throwing them into the deep end, creating a lot of chaos, a lot of disarray, and a lot of just hatred all around here as Donald Trump continues to be questioned about this as he responded to Caitlin Collins of CNN in a very interesting way, saying that he was surprised that she asked not a very smart question. Here's the clip here that I found pretty emblematic of this larger clash between the corporate media and Donald Trump that clearly Donald Trump has had enough of.
Even yet know the names of the 67 people who were killed, and you are blaming Democrats and DEI policies and air traffic control and seemingly the member of the U.S. military who was flying that Black Hawk helicopter. Don't you think you're getting ahead of the investigation right now?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think with the names of the people, you mean the names of the people that are on the plane? You think that's going to make a difference?
Does it comfort their families?
They are a group of people that have lost their lives. If you want a list of the names, we can give you that. We'll be giving that very soon. We're in coordination with American Airlines. We're in coordination very strongly, obviously, with the military. But I think that's not a very smart question. I'm surprised coming from you.
Not a smart question because it's a biased question. It's a question that clearly is meant to portray something that isn't in all actuality what actually happened here. And the little smackdown from Donald Trump was pretty light. But because, again, let's look at the larger arguments here. Let's look at the larger conversations here as clearly I think Donald Trump is right. Now, whether this is the right time or not, that's another discussion that needs to be had here. But clearly, there is something going on here inside of the United States that is worth looking into, since clearly it's not just these larger kind of transportation agencies that have been hijacked and taken over by the woke mind virus, but a lot of other institutions are just impractical, not running efficiently, and running in a way that doesn't really work for the American public. And that's one reason, out of many reasons, we created LukeUnfiltered.com, our quasi-secret, not-so-secret society, as we are going to be doing Arrange Day in about a week or two from now. It was scheduled for this Saturday. I had to postpone it because of other details that are happening. But you could come out, join us on Arrange, and do some really fun, amazing, next high-level stuff, all just by simply signing up to LukeUnfiltered.com. We got a lot of members' videos. When we do live videos, you guys get the ability to call in and be a part of them. Now, we don't have a solid schedule. I'm still dealing with a tumultuous situation with another streaming company that we're trying to work things out amicably. Will that happen? Well, I hope so. I still have my kind of optimism here. But regardless of that, when we do go live, you guys get free super chats. You guys get to be a part of the conversations. You guys get to call in. You guys get the members' videos. You guys get 3 masterclasses, the seed oil cards, the crap list of items at the supermarket you should be avoiding, members-only merchandise, and a lot of really cool, awesome stuff that you can only exclusively get on LukeUnfiltered.com. So if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? This is the clear way. Again, less than a Starbucks order. Don't go to Starbucks. Stop supporting horrible people. Vote with your dollar. Vote with your clicks. Get an amazing return of value. As of course, I have like 12 years of exclusive videos that no one else has seen other than members, specifically centered towards making you the strongest, most amazing version of yourself. All exclusively on LukeUnfiltered.com. This is the way forward. This is the way that we're going to be leading and moving forward in a direction that clearly is going to not just fill up our coffers, but allow us to do some really extraordinary things. We just set up a second channel. I just shot a really amazing video with Roger Stone. For that second channel, I will give a sneak peek to that video just for members exclusively. LukeUnfiltered.com. Lots of really fun stuff coming here your way, all exclusively just for members of this channel. As of course, let's get into it. Let's talk about this larger issue, as we have this from the Washington Times that reported on February 1st, 2024, that the FAA turned away qualified air traffic controllers. Why did they do that? Well, because they were born the wrong way. They were born a white guy. And if you're a white guy, we have to deny you opportunities, because that's what they did under the Biden administration. Could have this played an impact here? I don't know. We don't know. But is it worth considering? Is it worth having that conversation now that there was a major kind of crash? I think so. Now, some people would say, no, we should wait. But more importantly, we are dealing with a wrecked institution within our own federal government that clearly isn't operating and running well. I don't want people directing flights and making sure that accidents don't happen that are there just because they were born with a different color skin than me. All right? I want the qualified person. I want the best person. Guess what? That doesn't happen. What does happen, as perfectly kind of represented by libs of TikTok, is that there were even current job listing for air traffic controllers at the FAA websites that were open to people with, quote, disabilities, including psychiatric and intellectual delays. Yep. As libs of TikTok writes, doesn't it make you feel safe knowing that your air traffic controller can have an intellectual disability or have a seizure while directing your flights? DEI will kill people. And I think libs of TikTok here made a good argument. Ashley St. Clair also specifically highlighted how last year she reported on a tip from a United pilot that a near fatal incident in Houston was the result of a fired employee being rehired through their DEI program. Let me guess. They were of a specific skin color, as of course she describes how people were calling her racist for describing this specific incident. And yet here we are with a lot of this kind of information, a lot of this news coming forward, as I think Donald Trump's final statements on this particular matter here really were on point here, as a lot of people are saying that this was the kind of perfect mic drop moment to all of this.
It's all under investigation.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. We want brilliant people doing this. This is a major chess game at the highest level. When you have 60 planes coming in during a short period of time, and they're all coming in different directions, and you're dealing with very high-level computer work and very complex computers. And one of the other things I will tell you is that the systems that were built, I was going to rebuild the entire system, and then we had an election that didn't turn out the way it should have. But they didn't build the systems properly. They spent a lot of money renovating a system, spending much more money than they would have spent if they bought a new system for.
Yep, lots of waste. And what did you expect with the federal government? As the Vice President of the United States had a different kind of comment on this, saying that we should just hire the best people because we want the best people at air traffic control. And it's fair to say that definitely has not been happening here. As I think the bigger question here, the bigger conclusion for everyone is, maybe we shouldn't be testing military pilots near an airport. Maybe we should be, having military pilots test train away from an airport. I think that's the basic kind of conclusion here that I think a
you're not taking
lot
those-
of people could, of course, particularly agree on. How about that? If you agree with that, share this video with your friends and family members. What do you think? Do you think DEI played a role here? Well, who knows? We're going to find out through a larger investigation. But more importantly, I think this is a good conversation to have here, specifically when it comes to trying to prevent a lot of these disasters from happening once again. It's tragic what happened. It's severe what happened, and we could only hope and pray it doesn't happen anymore. And the way that it doesn't happen is by having these real, honest discussions that are a little bit difficult, that the media is like, oh, no, how dare you? No. This is an important conversation. If you agree, share this video with your friends and family members. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/wearechange.